Assalamualaikum and a very good day to the classmates and to the team members. So in today's video, our group will be presenting about operation management in this one manufacturing company. Before I start, let me first introduce myself and the rest of the group members to the class. So my name is Emir, and if you prefer the long name, it's Muhammad Fir Haider Emir bin Shahrudin, and I'm currently working at one of the infra telco companies in Malaysia, and I will be your first presenter for today. Next, we have the lovely lady Nur Fazira binti Yazid, which also happens to be a successful entrepreneur. Next, we have Mayor Izzat Emir Wafa bin Aminuddin. I believe he's a lovely gentleman working in Produa at the procurement department. And last but not least, we have the charismatic guy, Mr. Shazri Hidayat bin Abdul Syukur. I believe he's currently working in Maida, Selangor. An overview for today, myself will be presenting on the overview of the companies and its operation management. Next, Zira and Izzat will be further explaining on their finding on its operation management, on its supply management. And lastly, Hidayat will be presenting on conclusion and recommendation that the companies can improve further into their operation. So what is operation management? So as we have studied in the past weeks, we know that it's a business functions that plan, organize, control the business resources needed to produce the company's goods and services. There are three main divisions in operation management, which is the sales and marketing, the engineering or operation division, and the finance division. First, we have the sales and marketing. It is responsible for getting new sales, getting new revenue, forecasting, and getting the market intel. Next, we have operation management, or some companies call engineering division, where all the inputs or the processes are converted into motion to produce the goods and services, or we call them simply outputs. Then we have the finance division, which we know in charge of company's cash flows, payment, and revenue collection. So the company that our team has chosen for this particular project is called Master Approach Sedia Berhad. My credit to Izzat, one of our team members, for scheduling with us this session. We were given the opportunity to visit its manufacturing facilities in Klang, Selangor, which is roughly 20 minutes from Port Klang. We were given an interview and brief session by the Product and Business Development and the Human Resource Department. We also were taken around the facilities to further understand on the company layout, machinery, and its production line. The company currently employs around 170 employees, and most of them are working in the production assembly line. They both consist of contract and permanent workers. So, to which company or to who does Master Approach provides its goods and services? Most of Master Approach customers are from the automobile industry. To name a few, they have Produa, Proton, Suzuki, Toyota, Mazda, General Motors, Ford, and NASA. Master Approach acts as a one-stop center to these automobile industries. They provide design, they provide tooling, injection, sub-assembly, warehousing, and logistics. So their organization is divided into 7 different divisions which directly report to the director. They have manufacturing, quality insurance, planning control, product engineering, finance and purchasing, human resource, and business development. In manufacturing division, it includes injection and painting. For planning control, it monitors the production planning, warehouse, and material planning. For the product engineering, it supervises the product development, engineering process, and plant maintenance. The scopes are various. They start from ideas, sketching, concept, and styling. They also do product realization like prototyping, CAD designing, and mold fabrication. For quality assurance and logistics, they involve in quality control, warehouse, and transportation. Most of the product transportation are handled by the appointed suppliers from the car manufacturers. They have their own scheduling system like 313, means 3 times in 1 day, or 422, like 4 times in 2 days. Their manufacturing facilities are divided into 3 sections. There are Block A, Block B, Block C, and each houses a different function. And the further section of its manufacturing facilities is called the Section C, where it houses all the equipments they use for all their design and their product fabrication. Then they have the middle block, which is the painting area, and at the front or the first block is where they store all the finished goods and their inventory of raw materials. So in its production steps or line, the first step starts in Block C, where all the equipments like PU injection, molding machine are stored, as you can see in the pictures. Then the product will be motioned to the next warehouse for painting and styling. When it reaches Block A, it is kept for storage. For quality control, Master Approach has received certificate internationally and domestically. It obtained multiple certificates from IQNet and Sirim QAS, where it receives TS1649 and ISO9001 certification. Based on overview, Master Approach has its own competitive advantage. In terms of rapid responses, it has faster development processes due to short fabrication lead time. They have their own equipment for that purpose. They also claim that they can react faster to the market's needs due to their own extensive supply chain and good inventory management. They also perceive as unique as they act as one-stop center. They have the initiative also to become a cost-effective to the customers. This is further approved when they receive certification or appreciation from Proton, which they offer more than 3% reduction to the contract price. So that is the overview of Master Approach Operation Management. Next, Zira and Izzat will be presenting on their finding and discuss more further on their operation and supply chain management. And last but not least, Mr. Shazri Hidayat will be presenting his conclusion and any improvement can be undertaken by Master Approach to further improve their operation and supply chain management.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izzat and I will be presenting on the finding and discussion. Okay, basically there is a 6 of finding and also discussion, but I will focus on the 3 and another 3 will be explained by my colleague Zira. The first finding or the first issue that we actually see in Master Approach is sometimes they can have multiple problems at the same time. So in going through the discussion, they actually propose the FMEA method, which is the call failure mode effect analysis. So the first one is FMEA. Basically, FMEA can be divided into few categories first. Which is the first one, they need to have the variable, okay, as you can see in the slide, and then they will be having the potential failure mode, which is why or how it can fail the system. And then due to the failure, what is the effect that will come next? Okay, so after that we will measure in terms of the severity. Okay, the severity here means the level of the severity itself, right? And then for the potential cause of the failure, what is the cause due to the failure? You see, so in a way that this FMEA from 1 to 1 we study, and then we also need to know in terms of the occurrence level, because we need to know how much it actually happened in the plant or in the building, all right, and how do you contain it for the moment, which is due to the current process control, and then how is the level of the detection control is measured from 1 to 10, the same as severity occurrence, and also we need to multiply all the value, as you can see, severity, occurrence, and detection control, and we can see which is which having the highest value. Okay, so just a quick one for the problems that are now facing, the multiple problems that are now facing in the Master Approach. So as you can see, the variable here is the fire alarm system, right? The painting machine, piping system, and also the pedestrian walk. So if we go through the fire alarm system first, the potential failure mode here is the alarm system only hit at a few areas. Okay, so we need to know what is the effect of the when it is only hit at a few areas. So the effect is not all worker alert on the fire hazard. So how severe is this? From 1 to 10. So from this we can measure it at the 8 the level of 8. Okay, and then what is the potential cause of the failure? All right, it is mainly due to poor alarm cabling system. And then we need to know how many occurrence, means how times this problem have caused in the Master Approach, the company we go. So it is level of 2 because it is very seldomly happen. And then the current process control is from mouth to mouth communication approach only. Okay, when at the other side they do not hear the alarm, so the current process control is just by mouth to mouth communication approach. And then, so how severe is this? We put it at a 6 because it is quite important, but yet in terms of the total, it is at the level of 96. Okay, now I just want to go through the highest one. So if you can see the RPN number, the highest one is the level of the 168. So why is it so high? So we can see that the variable here is the painting machine. So the failure mode is the when the painting line itself break down. Okay, the effect is production part becomes stuck. So it is at the level of severity of 7. Okay, what is the cause of the failure? It is at the poor maintenance. The occurrence is higher than the fire alarm. Alright, it is about at the level of 4. Okay, and the current process control is only by immediately repair using existing technician or even call client. So by calling client, by means of the client itself is Perodua and also Proton or Honda or Mercedes. But in this case, we can see that it only at the level of 6, since the process control is tough but yet still manageable. So when you total all this, it becomes the highest. And then the lowest RPM is at the 40 for pedestrian walk. Okay, as you can see, the number multiplication again only total up to 40. So what can we learn here actually? So by right, if you are having, or when a company is having few problems and they do not know which one to solve first, because if you did it simultaneously for all the things, eventually you are the one will kaput. Okay, so in this case, the painting machine should be the one first, and then the second one is the 96, which is a fire alarm system, and then number 3 is the pedestrian walk, and lastly the piping system. Okay, the next one is on the logistic management. Alright, for the logistic management, they are using two main approach, which is Kanban and the FIFO. So what is Kanban here? So Kanban is a method for managing the creation of products which emphasize on continuous delivery while not overburdening the development team, right? Kanban is a process designed to help the teams work together more effectively. Okay, the next one is the FIFO. FIFO is mainly stand for first in, first out. Alright? So why is FIFO very important? First of all, you need to understand, mainly in current company that we go to, which is master approach, which is the automobile industry, they will be having a lot of the parts ranging from steel, plastic, and even rubber, and even the electronic parts. So if let's say you are sending the rubber parts, all right, to this master approach, and then the part that the first one that sent, say that they store about 3 to 5 days, which is the requirement is only 2 days. If not, the part will start to deform and have a lot of other problem. So they need to send to Produa very fast, or Proton, to assemble, or else the part will become defect. That's why we are having a lot of other customer outside saying that this part problem, but at the end they will blame the Produa or Proton. They will not blame the supplier, because they also do not know who is the supplier. So the importance of the first in, first out FIFO method is actually paramount in any industry actually, because they need to clear out all the old parts first, and by means of this, they need to have a very good planner in terms of logistic delivery, and even the part that comes from overseas or local, or not. If not, the part will be messed up, and also lastly affect to the quality of the part itself. Okay, back at the Kanban. As we can see, the Kanban is actually the tagging itself for the part. So you need to have in terms of the part number, part name, and the delivery date. Okay, you can see that the delivery date is combining with the FIFO, because need to clear out which thing first, and then also in terms of the number of the delivery, and also which is the model being applied for. So as you can see, the name of the vendor is also there to help mainly the customer like Produa or Proton can know which supplier they are having for this part, and they can send to the right shop at the plant. Because certain supplier maybe send the accessory part which need directly to go to the Produa sales department or Proton sales. And then in terms of the part itself, they also need to know how many the quantity, because the quantity will then be put into the logistic system, so that they can arrange well in terms of size, dimension of the part need to be put into their logistic system. Okay, the next finding is on the capability of the vendor itself. Okay, so how they solve these problems, or what is the approach of their customer, since customer will advise on how actually they want their part to be. So in mitigating this, actually customer in this context, specifically Produa, they will be having a program called resident support. So what's resident support is? Basically, the experienced staff in we call the Department of Vendor Support Center, right, from Produa, they will be having a team. So this team from the Vendor Support Center will go down to the vendor to sit there for at least the duration of 6 months. They are still being employed by Produa, but they are going to the vendor for their daily works for the duration of the 6 months. So what they will be doing exactly during the 6 months? Basically, they will observe, and after they have observed on the current condition at the supplier within this about 1 week at the first week, and then they will advise on the quality of the operation flow and even the quality of the part produced. This in a way is a mutual benefit approach, right? Which customer like Produa even can also learn from this vendor. So this vendor is the master approach that we go, right? And need to understand that we are doing not only for master approach but many other vendor. So the level of the education, the transfer of the level of the transfer of the knowledge between from this supplier to this supplier, even Produa, and then Produa also reporting to the Sumuto Corporation and Toyota. So the knowledge is there, and Produa then can share, or even the vendor can share the result with all the supplier in the supply chain. So in a way that the output is they can increase the productivity of the car produced. Not only that, okay, by doing this approach, looking at the bigger picture, master approach, the vendor that we go is they can sustain their business much more longer, since when the part have been increased in terms of their quality, all right, but this is only in the Produa context. It is actually not only Produa, because they also supplying for Proton, right, Honda, Toyota, which sometimes using the same machine, but maybe just a different mold to be inserted. So in this case, the expertise or knowledge is there to support the other client as well. So in a way that the automobile industry can boost their productivity and also in terms of the total revenue. Last but not least, what we can see from all the finding and discussion being presented by me is they are developing the solution for each of the problems, and by this means they can survive and even improve from time to time with the methodology of FMEA, logistic management, and also resident support. So the next one will be presented by Zira. Thank you.
During the visit at the Master Approach Company, we are informed that Master Approach are facing a few issues that can be discussed on the operation management. The first issue is manpower turnover due to COVID-19. The second issue is career path development. And the third issue is automobile industry seasonal business. Let's take a look at the first issue. The first issue is manpower turnover due to COVID-19. Master Approach facing an issue in manpower turnover where due to the COVID-19 crisis, the number of the workers that are available to work slowly decreased. This happened because some of the employees are having a quarantine due to the COVID virus, and some of them are facing the fear to go out and working normally because of the virus, even though there is SOP provided by the company. Because of this issue of insufficient number of workers, the workload automatically will increase, and the flexibility of the working time will be difficult to fill in. It is one of the challenge For master approach to scheduling the working shift for the remaining worker. As a result, the remaining workers will feel the pressure to fulfill the demand, especially in the peak season, to complete the order in the given time. For example, Produa. Produa is one of the business partner for Master Approach that hold 80% of the order demands in the company. Produa has decided to push up the volume of the car produced in the end year of 2020. So Master Approach need to rush all the demand, but with only a few workers, they are facing the rush in complete the order. The second issue is career path development. Every company facing the difficulty in gaining skilled and talented worker, especially when they are facing the turnover. Having to find a skilled person to manage the machine are difficult. When there's an intern that show a talents that can contribute to the company, Master Approach will grab the opportunity by offering the intern a full-time position and give training to enhance the skills. Master Approach have a training center that support by Produa, where the intern will be trained in stimulation on how to handle the machine and receive on-the-job training that will help them when they are working in the real working environment. For soft skills, Master Approach will invite outside experts to give the training on the soft skills such as communication skills and knowledge about safety requirements for the job. As we know, it is very challenging for the company to have a greater pool of workers that have a strong team's will skills, knowledge, and ability to manage the operation. The third issue is automobile industry seasonal business. Master Approach have a few business partners that they supply the product like Produa, Mazda, GM, Suzuki, Toyota, Ford, and NASA. Each company have different design and requirement for each product request. This is the main source of the Master Approach revenue, and will help Master Approach to gain a huge amount of profit during peak season of the car produce. But during out of peak season, the company take another alternative to sustain the company revenue by getting involved in R&D of the birdhouse innovation and wheelbarrow innovation at the extra line product. Master Approach start collaboration with Simdarby regarding the birdhouse product and start to supply to them. For wheelbarrow innovation, Master Approach only have start to create a prototype and to prepare for the introduction as an extra line production.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Shazli Hidayat and I'm going to present on the conclusion and also recommendation from our site visit to Master Approach Sdn Bhd. I'm going to break down my conclusion on their operations management issues into three main issues. Number one is their business sustainability. Number two is their workforce issue. And number three is their supply chain or raw materials issue. Issue number one is their business sustainability. Master Approach was established in 1990 and their main business since the establishment is in the automotive spare part manufacturing industry. With 30 years of experience, they have worked with international and local brands. They have served export and also local market. A few big names also have worked with them, such as General Motors for Chevrolet, Mazda and Ford. For local market, they have served Proton and now they are one of the big vendors for Produa. With their capability from idea conceptualization until manufacturing of the finished good, they realized that they actually can offer more with their existing machines and also the raw materials they are familiar with. That is why among the new business that they ventured into is in the agricultural industry. Besides automotive spare parts, they can now offer the service of designing and manufacturing of birdhouse, in particular owls or burung hantu, for the natural pest control projects in all palm plantations in the ASEAN region. They have served companies in Indonesia and now they are in talk with SAMDABI for these natural pest control projects. This product diversification shows that Master Approach take a great effort for their business sustainability. Now let's move to issue number 2, which is the workforce issue. Company inform us that they have difficulty in retaining their skilled workers, especially the industrial designers. Master Approach is a medium-sized Malaysian company, and usually they are industrial designers who have served under 5 years but with ample skill will move to a more established companies. During the discussion, we have proposed to Master Approach to draw a clear career development plan for their young and talented industrial designers. And since most of their work are project basis, they should look into the possibility of allowing their staff to work from home and only come to the office for meetings or formal occasions. Another workforce issue is the difficulty in having enough factory operators. Most of companies' business are project basis, so they do not plan to hire too many permanent factory operators. So on this issue, we agree with companies' practice, which is to appoint agents to fund factory operators whenever they need. The third and final issue is the supply chain of raw materials. This is actually not a big challenge to the company, since their major client, Pelodua, will give a forecast of finished product that they need, and they will give the timeline for each batch of products. In that case, company will do backward planning for their inventory and implement just-in-time delivery method for raw materials stock. However, for the other projects, company always keep raw material stock enough for 1 or 2 months of operations. Finally, we would like to thank Mr. Lim Boon Keng, Mr. Darren, Encik Zairul and Encik Rashid for their willingness to entertain our site visit to fulfill the requirement of OPM 770 Operations Management for Executive MBA. We would also like to record our special appreciation to our respected and esteemed lecturer Yang Berbahagia Datin Sri Dr. Nazura Muhammad Sayuti for sharing her knowledge throughout the course. Thank you from us.